A tangled series of crude pipes and vents feed these digital gadgets big as a house and with thousands of lights and buttons and wires making a hot fire of ozone motion notioned by who knows what. In the silver gut of octagonal machines lancing freaky laser beams, sparking into life funky photon phasers which lift the vapor trail centipede in shape at an angle so that it glances the bottom end of a substrate existing like a prelate on the air low above the city and high above regions astral, leading me to question myself as I regard with an eye of crystalline energy a sky limpid as a glass pan. Where's the orthographer? Who is Mr. Fan? The several apparatuses, with the boiler ovens roaring like tigers, eviscerated with knives fashioned from fresh moon rock, are rolled into place. A series of deep ruts a series of deep ruts carved into the ground by unthinkable wear and tear. Does every nostalgia parade these days feature a centipede fired as a cannonade? I look to the sky where miser light, in fisticuff fandango with night looming like vats of black stew which gobblers of porridge in these horoscopic isles of asteroid and hemorrhoid consume with the languorousness of drowsing flamingos, eyes closed, the rose of color smothered in the west by demons of darkness, hearkening toward the forward looking bird of winged contortion that emulates the emptiness of the world by unfurling every hour the complex series of syllables which compose the universal word hermetic, and the half length of a man and half the length of a man's arm when read out loud. The name, shouted with so crowning a sound as to drown out the body and mind, two timing and bandy-legged rebound, the complicated steps of which cinched the two together in a feather-light enterprise of slow-motion tippy-toe commotion over cobblestones, glory bone in the bisexual black hole of the incommodious unknown. A cry goes up as the devices are wheeled around, such that the octagons thrust into space like clowns in a bull ring. They are attempting to straighten the vapor cloud, shaped like a centipede stretching into space in the air above this town of 44 court squares. To accomplish this end, the business is seen from what it is, tricky, almost ludicrously hazardous, for the octagonal devices, chromed and gleaming, made of stainless steel seeping clean light like antifreeze out the nose of one dead and dreaming, are fed, each one, by a long string of technology in retrograde, such that the terminus of these ganglions of wire and gadget in backward, out mode, felonious in the sense that their countenances, the obduracies of plastic flesh and metal sinew, are each, in sequence, scotched in the hierarchy of technology by the stage a little down the line. The whole thing, each one of these tentacles of thick cables, replete with trickling wires and tumor-like machines with humped backs that hum and whirl in the melted-down pearl, a blood-colored syrup like a stirrup/gash impaction, making gobbling mastication on a horizon thrashed and upbraided by the great saints of pain and chastisement, wise along latitudes of dying dawns, spawn like chicks in a henhouse, the mousetrap earth, grinding in his teeth the glass afterbirth that runs like mountain streams of roar mammoth in the eyes of sonic demise. That is to say, I am not waylaid in the least when I see, as I said, boilers feeding these intricate machines, bending the space-time continuum and sending refractory feelers of photon fecundation like estimations concerning the size of a universe fried down to its very deepest substratum, the boilers belching, the stoves on crude carts rolled on wheels, being adjusted with a great commotion of toppling pots and screaming men, the coal pile falling over, and boxes of the stuff scattered over the walks, the paucity of this piddling stuff making me ruminate, hesitating on the very physical mandate of being sedate with a heaviness beyond conception. What wild flailing with fires leaping high in the background, and what a tumult of men! The flames roaring in the boilers throttle combustion to the very last, a gas suction of reverse explosion and slow motion emulsion fulcrumed on plenteous doom and gloomy afterlude. The spewing of so much hot blaze into the machines which are like things, vines, say, clinging to a cliff, spider legs of devices hearkening back, the farther one follows them to seldom seen pieces of machinery, and in terminus again, the workers stoking the fires in a dusk of rare denouement like songs cast like flowers over the casket of twilight in silken impaction fractioned into slicks of greasy light lying like an animal eviscerated, leaking this rarefied stuff into the munificent blood of an end of day waylaid by ancient pains and copious with mopy-faced clouds and sulky ablution on the air, the cleansing of their thick flesh, enormous like so much white puffy muscle, fit biceps, lot from arms unfathomable, disembodied and making sojourn into hazardous zones, thus in a similar manner, and in a manner of speaking, having peaked both at the sky whose dying light illuminating a sky centralized with an affliction of contradictory existences whose seams are vanishing, which is to say, the syzygy of day and night is collapsing in the herniated sky of this twilight in particular, reticular pertaining to certain membranes heinous in space, the fledgling machines gulping and spasmodic in the pulp of a sky incised along lines of lost tropic, cut along seams of dreamy sea life, the workers in their thick breeches smeared with good pine ash and coal dust, feeding the stoves, this night, I'm sure, out there somewhere, cloned, writ in stone somehow, voluptuous as a woman, doomed to humors of putrescent dimensions too fat to fit up the nose, which is another way of saying mortal, perhaps, who knows, only the caretaker who stands here at this axis of praxis vigorous, existence flowing like a lotion made of stones whipped up, succubus of incumbent moon's crude appearance, blighting the sky while lighting it, showing the source of the illusion, so much white light from doomed moon making fusional profusion and concussing my skin with flints and fires sparked in a darkness bright as the light I see trapped like a jellyfish in a grate on the eczemaed pate of substrate longitudes mating ritual with the halcyon hells high above this bedfellow of equator's residential continental flater. Didn't land. Of equator's residential continental flater. With that little bit of awkwardness, I'll stop and make another one.